Right, start off. Yes, it's week commencing 12th of March, which is a significant date because today is, in England at least, is when non-essential retail opened, and also pubs opened, outdoors, and cafes, but all outdoors. So interesting to see what effect that has on how busy the CX is. I'd say it's been quite busy the last few weeks. I'm hoping that's going to be a permanent thing and not just like an end of financial year sort of boost. Anyway, yeah, so fuel prices, UK fuels, which is the Shell card for UK fuels, as I keep saying, 100.39. So, as I said in the last week's video, I'm going to be switching to their own brand of UK Fuels Network one. Having spoken to them last week, they seem to have dropped their price because it's only 0.02 pence higher now than the BWOC or Block card, which is the one that uses a Key Fuels network. But I'm going to use a Key Fuels one this week anyway, because I don't know, they're going to be changing my account over this week, so they'll want to start using the Shell card and then it doesn't work. So yeah, so with the VAT, that's 120.44, so that's a pretty good price. It's not the best price. Some people are saying they got 98 and a half sort of thing, so nice to be around there, but it's still just under 120 and a half pence, which for branded fuel, mostly BP and Esso I put in it. Yeah, it's not bad really. It's cheaper than most supermarkets and it's better fuel, debatably. I believe it is anyway. But anyway, I'm thinking on here. So yeah, Monday I started looking about just before 9 this morning, about 5 to 9, which isn't bad for me on a Monday morning. Got my first job, which turned out to be my only job, sadly, at about 20 past. Or was it yeah, got it quarter past. I was looking for 20 minutes. And it's a job from Birmingham B6, which is kind of like Spaghetti Junction area, down to Poole in Dorset by Bournemouth. Yeah, and it said need straps, doors and door frames. Turned out to be 4 fire doors. It did actually say in the notes, forklifts both end. But there was, but it wasn't a load that we just handled on and off for some reason. Anyway, didn't take too long, but quite heavy fire doors. But 2 people to do it, so it wasn't too much of an issue. I had to help. I went in at 157. He rings me up and says, "Can I do it for 155?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, £2 on a job that bit distance." Still worked out about, including getting there, it was about 87 pence a mile, including getting there. It's 170 miles. It was a shorter way. It's about 150 miles, but it's like an extra half hour, so you can't really do that. That's like ASAP is ASAP, isn't it? If it's like next to 5-10 minutes, maybe that'll push. But if it's half an hour, yeah. So I got down here, got it tipped around 2ish, just after 2. The pickup was a bit of a pain actually with this one. Something happened. I've heard of it happening to other people. It's never happened to me before. They're on break. So I actually had to pick up the doors from one big roller shutter door. I got loaded around and he goes, "Yeah, you need to go 2 roller shutters doors down, give them that paperwork, and then they'll give you the door frames." Go down to the door frame place. The kind of forklift goes, they just got on their break, mate. It's going to be 15 minutes. So it's not like 10 minutes. It was probably just over half an hour all in getting loaded, which is included, but it wasn't as swift as I was hoping. Down here, and it's quite strange actually, because I dropped to this industrial unit before. Totally unrelated job. Last time I was sort of picked up in Leeds area, and I delivered some adhesive stickers, like rolls of adhesive stickers down to here, like 100 adhesive rolls of stickers with printers to this place. Yeah, so the chances of going to the exact same unit and things quite slim. So it's a bit of a coincidence. Got it unloaded pretty sharpish. Parked up Tesco down the road, literally just down the road. Bid on a few jobs. It's actually really quiet down here. So I'm going to run my normal market research, but from back home in my home area, to see if it's gone quiet again this week, or it's just still quiet down here. Don't know. But anyway, that is Monday so far. I actually remember last time I tipped in this place, I think it was my second best day in the old van, because I went Leeds to down here to this place. I just tipped this morning, and that was 180, and then I stopped for an hour, had my lunch, picked up a job from Poole, just down the road from where I was, to D-side CH5 to buy the Airbus wing factory, and that was like 180 or 185. So between the two, I remember it's 365. So that was my best day, and I was thinking, oh, maybe maybe that's a sign. Maybe I'll get a good job after this. But yeah, not much came up, and what did come up, I didn't get. So one job for the day, 155. It's a bit disappointing, but yeah, it's not like a total disaster either. So that is Monday. Yeah, still Monday. Just quickly done this search, so I thought I'd share it with you. I'll probably share it with you again at the end of the week, and I'm going to try and do it more times through the week. But yeah, if you look there, that's like the most recent ones. I thought it was quiet today, but it has been the last few weeks, and it is. It's kind of gone back to what it was like 3 weeks ago, or slightly higher. So I was expecting it to be busier down here, and it was, but there's very little popping up. So that's not a great sign. Hopefully it's just because it's Monday. Yeah, so I just thought I'd share that anyway. So that is the kind of market research today. Right, you join me. It's late Tuesday afternoon, well, evening, 7:30, something like that. I am atop a grassy knoll on the outskirts of Peterborough. It's some modernish housing estate. Yes, how did I get here? Obviously started the morning after my last tip yesterday. I drove, I don't know if I said yesterday, to sort of further towards Southampton, so I was within half an hour of Southampton. I could also get back to Bournemouth and Poole and get up to Salisbury within half an hour. So it's parked just north of Bournemouth. Pretty slow this morning. Started looking for jobs like just before 7. I got nothing until 10:30. Something like that, yeah. And it was from Southampton to Maidenhead, SL6. Yeah, just picking up from a tool hire place. Yeah, that one's a short wheelbase job. Surprised to get this one actually, because it was 66 miles loaded, short wheelbase job. I quoted 66 quid and I got it, but I had 22 miles to get there. So that works out at 75p a mile, all miles, pound a mile loaded for a short wheelbase. So you never know what you're going to get really. It's always worth a punt. And I thought, because it was that quiet, that part of the world, I thought it's getting me at least sort of West London, sort of Slough way. Even though there's loads of competition on it, I thought it'd be better for jobs. Got to the bit of a pain at the pickup, probably took the full half hour, but tipping was really easy, like a 5-minute job. Rang the guy, came straight out. He was builder working in some swanky office block. Yeah, I gave him that, but then I waited there looking for jobs, and it was surprisingly quiet there, to be honest. Probably not much busier than Southampton area. There's a lot more competition, I think. So it took me 2.5 hours, so I dropped that at 1. Didn't get a job until 3:30. Picking up at 4 in High Wycombe, but I did, to be honest, I cocked up a bit on this one because it was picking up today and then dropping in the morning. I didn't see that, and I just quoted it, assuming it was ASAP. But anyway, it's a job. Yeah, so I picked that up. It's like materials for flat roofing, by the looks of it. 2 rolls of material and some boxes and some lengths of other stuff. So yeah, I've got to drop that in the morning in Bourne, which is north of here, about half an hour drive north of here, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to park up pretty close to it. It's in an industrial estate. Get that tipped at 8 in the morning. Not the best place to get a job around here, but probably less competition. Yeah, so the only issue is, obviously I've got stuff in the van now, so it's going to be a bit of a pain in the night tonight to sleep in a van. But my arm's getting tired. There you go, that's much better light. It's going to be a bit of a pain tonight, sleep in a van, but I did look at Travelodges when I was at the pickup to wait like 10 minutes. So I checked Travelodge prices along the way, and there's quite a few like 25-30 quid. And then I stopped on the way up to check again, which ones I could possibly go to, and they seem to have gone up in price. They're like 60-70 quid, so maybe Travelodge give them cheap until 5, I don't know, and then after that it's just full price. So if anyone's desperate, they have to pay it, I don't know. That seems a bit strange. Yeah, so it's a bit of a struggle so far this week. Having been feed being busy over the last few weeks, it's kind of, and the relaxation of the lockdown rules that happened on the 12th Monday. I was really hoping it would at least stay the same as it has been, and that would be sign of it picking up. But early signs from beginning of the week aren't great, to be honest. Not frustrating, but a bit disappointing today. But just gotta keep plugging on. It will get better eventually. Right, 8 o'clock. Yeah, a bit of a toughish day today. So yeah, I actually didn't go into Bourne to tramp next to this place, industrial estate, because on the way there, just before I got to the town, so one of them big nice lay-bys that isn't immediately next to the road. It goes, in and off the road, and there's a bit of woods between that and the road. So I thought, I saw a few trucks parked there, and I thought, I'll check that out. And it was quite a nice spot because it was away from the road, quite quiet. Yeah, good night's sleep last night. But I did have all that crap in the back, so I had to put it all in one corner first. Because it was a bit squashed actually compared to usual. Anyway, got that one tipped at 8 in the morning. So that put me in Bourne, which is just sort of like to the north of Peterborough, about half an hour north of Peterborough. And then I had a quick look around town in the morning because it was really quiet. And actually didn't get a job until 11 o'clock after that, so it was that 3 hours. Very slow on the feed. Bid on a few jobs, but didn't get them. And I was sat there, and there was a job that pinged up from Kettering, so I was quite far from Kettering. It was like 55 minutes, 35 miles, and it was down to central London, long wheelbase van. And I thought, well, I normally don't mind speculative bids because sometimes you get them, but I thought by the time I've worked it out, it's going to be too expensive. Surely, I don't really want to go to the centre of London either, so it didn't really appeal. So I forgot, just ignored that one. But it pinged up probably like 4 or 5 times, and obviously it's been sat there for quite a while. So definitely still beggars can't be choosers. It's gone back to being a bit crap this week after them 2 reasonably busy weeks compared to recent standards. So I worked it out. I priced it at 90 pence a mile, including getting there. So it's 35 miles to get there, 84 to get down to London, which was 105 quid. I think I worked out something like that anyway. Plus the 15 quid congestion charge because I don't pay the emissions because this is Euro 6. So it was 120 quid for 84 miles. But it was in the ULEZ. And he rang me straight away. So for some reason they're really struggling to cover this one. I got it. So even if you take off the 15 quid for the charge, it's 105 for 84 miles. Okay, it was central London. Drive down wasn't too bad, to be honest, considering it was central London. Bit of faffing around trying to find a building site. So I had 2 building sites right next to each other. This company went to the wrong one first. Yeah, and then got it tipped. All it was in the end, it was from sheet metal place, like say to some building site, and it was like long strips, 2.5 metre strips of aluminium checker plate, probably like 10 centimetres wide at the most, maybe like 10 of them, and they were kind of like formed so they were bent into a certain profile. No weight to them at all. I'd probably say 20 to 25 kilograms. Could have gone on a medium wheelbase for sure, practically an empty van really, weight and base wise. Got that tipped, and then it's awkward thing. That's the reason I hate central London is that you just can't park anywhere. There's red lines. If you park anywhere, really, you need to be paying with your phone. But I was kind of like pulled in on this building site's bay. I had to move some of the cones, so I was a bit cheeky, and I sat there for probably 20 minutes. Did all my CX admin, all that crap through to the invoice. Yeah, and then I bid on quite a few jobs actually, like sort of central-ish London. I got one, and the guy says, "Can you get going? I'll give you the postcode. Can you go in straight away, and I'll send it through." And I thought, okay, it was one of the big shippers that I do a fair bit of work for, because they were messed around by somebody else, and they were desperate for it, somebody to be there. And I wasn't that close to it. It was like 45 minutes from it. So I set off, and then as soon as I set off, somebody else rang about another job, which would have been a better job. But I had to say, sorry mate, I've just bid on another one. I should have cancelled the bid really, but it doesn't always affect it anyway. They still quite often ring you. So I declined that one, and then as soon as I hung up on that call, the original job rings me up and says, sorry mate, I just spoke to them. They said it's too late now because they're going home. So he cancelled that, and there's no cancellation because it's literally like a case of 3 or 4 minutes. Could have like thinged it, but I was just driving on middle London, so he just cancelled it and rang me and said, oh, it's cancelled, and pretty much hung up. Did apologise but told me very briefly what had happened. But yeah, so then I was driving. I'd moved from my spot, didn't have a job. So this is all central London, which I don't like, as I keep saying. So I just pulled down some side street, put the hazards on, sat in the van with the engine running, and some kind of like half on a parking bay, more on, I think, single yellows. So if anyone came, I could have moved. I said, I was just looking for an address or something. But yeah, and I bid on a few jobs, and I got a job. I was just desperate at this point. I have to get out of middle London. I hate middle London. I didn't want to do it unpaid because it's slow going anyway. So I was looking like to get like towards the North Circle and stuff. It's like an hour's drive. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, so I did get a job. It was back in the ULEZ, small van job, over to Tunbridge Wells. So got that, and it was still 25 minutes to get to it, even though it's 3 miles. It's just inside the zone. Picked up from there, and then it was down to Tunbridge Wells. It was 44 miles, and it was an hour and a half to go under the river to Blackwall Tunnel, I think. But I balls this job up because I priced it basically £1 a mile or slightly under. And then when I was going there, I was on the M25. So I think I went down the A2, got on the M25 south, sort of going clockwise, and it said stay on M25 on Google Maps. Kind of like deceived me a bit. Google Maps, partly my fault for not really working it out, but it said stay on M25, and it said next turning in like 23 miles or 22 miles, and I was only like 24 miles from the actual end address. So I thought, that's strange. Surely I remember Tunbridge Wells being further south than that. Maybe it is just off the M25. I had a bit of a dumb moment. I kind of realised something was not quite right with it. But then you get to sort of like the A21, I think it was, and I should have borne right, even though Google Maps wasn't recognising that as a junction, even though I was changing from the M25 to the A21. So I just stuck on the M25. I went left at the T, out the fork, instead of going right. And then I soon realised what I'd done, and it was an extra 20 minutes on a journey, 9 miles to the next junction, 9 miles back, so it's 18 miles on a small job. So instead of being £1 a mile, it's probably more like 70 pence a mile all in. So yeah, I was really pissed off with that. It's just one of them days, one of them weeks so far. It's just not really happening. It's just really hard going. It's gone dead quiet again. Kind of a bit fed up now, to be honest. I was really hoping The last few weeks it's been busier, and this week it's gone quiet again, and yet it sort of opened up some more on Monday. So yeah, so it's like 120 for the first one, but after the ULEZ, or the congestion charge I should say, it's 105 at LC, and then 45 for the last one. So it's 150 for the day, which is pretty crap really, not a great mileage. As far as 90 on the first one, probably 85, probably still done 85 all miles for the day. So I'm in Tunbridge now, very quiet around here. Driving from central London to here, there was probably one job pinging up every 2 or 3 minutes, which is in the middle of London. So my catchment area for notifications would have been pretty much all London and wider area, and it's just that quiet. It's just started to realise down here, you're driving around and you see lots of other couriers that aren't on the CX, because obviously there's a lot of business sort of stuff around London, couriers that are long established, so like to City Sprint are big down here, probably got like shed loads of their own couriers here, and there's this Addison Lee company which I keep seeing on vans and cars and all sorts of couriers, and there's a few others that you notice. I just don't think much work from down here goes on the CX compared to other parts of the country. And yeah, it's just more comes to London and goes out, because obviously it's a lot of goods comes here because of the population. So yeah, that's up until the end of Wednesday. Now then, Thursday evening now. Yeah, so where was I last night? I tramped in a Tesco car park just off the A21, a place called Pembury, which is close to sort of Tunbridge Wells and Tunbridge. Although I did realise there's Tunbridge and then there's Tonbridge. I thought they were the same. One was Wells and one wasn't, but hey, I learned something yesterday. Yeah, so I was there. I got up at 7, started looking for jobs. Well, got up before then, started looking at 7. Didn't actually get a job until 11, to another really slow start. Hopefully this isn't too windy. And then, yeah, but at first, to be honest, from 7 till 9, very little comes up anyway. It's always a very little chance then, especially with being so quiet at the moment. But yeah, even after 9, it took me 2 hours, and it wasn't a great job really. It was a short wheelbase job. Picking up, I had to go back on myself, so back down the A21, heading anti-clockwise around the M25 to just where the M20 joins the M25. It was that junction just off there. Pick up some refrigeration place, and Google did the same thing really. It said the next junction is when I come off the M25. Again, didn't show the junction between the A21 and the M25, so I didn't imagine it last night. It's the same going the other way. So yeah, still a bit pissed off about that. But anyway, I'd be lost without Google Maps and stuff anyway, so can't be too harsh on it. Yeah, so picked that up, really easy pickup, and that was down to Brighton, middle of Brighton, to meet some fitters. Just gave them a ring, they came over really quickly, so I was able to get out of town. Usual story, loading bays, people just parked in them, so I had to park on double yellows. Got out of town and then, well, to the outskirts of town, just headed north, sort of towards more of the main roads. Yeah, and it took me a while to get another job, getting like late in the day, and I was on 66 quid I got for that job. Which loaded miles was pretty good. I think it's over £1 a mile loaded. It's like 90p a mile, including getting there. I was quite far from it, 25 miles from it. But yeah, got it. It's one of these ones you don't know where you get, but I'm not going to complain. And then I got one more job for today, which was a bit further down the coast, west, Lancing, to sort of back into Brighton again, outskirts of Brighton. Only about 9 miles between the two. I had 13 miles to get there, so 20 miles all in. It was a medium wheelbase job. I went in at 40 quid because I just wanted to get something didn't want to be less than £100 for the day, so that got me at least up to 106 for the day. The thing it said on the notes was handball at delivery. I turned up to collect it. First of all, they almost gave me the wrong thing because they were expecting a courier for something else and they weren't expecting one for the job I had. So even though I told them the reference number and where it was going, the postcode, they almost gave me the wrong one. And the guy says to me, "Oh, don't know why you're taking this because the place is shuts at 3:30 and it was like gone that time." I was like, "Well, I've asked to phone the office because it's pretty pointless doing it." And I said to him, because I sort of looked at the notes in the job, it was a private address, so it looked like one. I said, "You shouldn't be shut, it's just a private address." And he goes, "Oh, maybe it's not our job." And he went back into the office and goes, "Yeah, he was about to give me the wrong thing." But it turned out to be another pallet, which is a stupidly tall pallet. It was a UK pallet and it had like wooden extensions going up and then cross braces, probably 1.6 meters tall, say. And it had some, I think it had like a shower enclosure in a big box, and then the shower base and a few other boxes on it. I thought, "Gone no trouble." But I said to the guy, "I'd rather just handball it on and leave you with a pallet." And he says, "Oh no, you have to take the pallet." It was on his partner places. It's part of the package and we don't want it either because we have too many scrap pallets anyway. The skip is overflowing with pallets. So yeah, I got to the other side just hoping I could get it off. Said to a lady, "I'm going to have to handball it off but leave all the packaging with you, including the pallet." And she said, "Yeah, fine, no trouble." I don't think she was too happy, but she didn't complain openly to me. So I just got it unloaded and got the hell out of there before they changed their mind. Pretty hard though when I was down a tiny little close trying to get out of there, and you have to do an Austin Powers style multi-point turn to get the hell out of there. Definitely a tippet and scarple on that one, but in the end I got it done. Yeah, so disappointing day, quiet, but then a few jobs pinged up late, like I tipped that like 5 o'clock-ish, say, just before 5, and there's a few jobs pinging up for the morning. And I got one. The good thing is it was only 12 miles away to the pickup, and it's a long job. It's like 262 miles, long wheelbase. So I went in at 157 quid, so a shade under £1 a mile on a really long one, and I got it. The only downside is it's a wait and return, and it's picking up at 8 o'clock at the earliest. I'm hoping I'm going to pick up at 8, but it might be a bit after. Spoke to the shipper. It's picking up a box of light fittings from a housing estate they're building, one of the big house builders. That's been delivered there in error. Take it to the one it should be in Cambridge, and then in Cambridge I need to pick up boxes there and bring it back to this area. So basically whoever delivered them, probably on a truck, delivered them to the wrong places, or maybe they just got the wrong labels put on them, we don't know, do you? Probably that actually. They're quite far apart. Yeah, and that's in Peacehaven. I'm quite close there now. This is C something, I can't remember. Definitely losing my mind. So just having a nice walk on the beach. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad filming this. That's alright, isn't it? White Cliffs. So I'm to the east of Brighton here. I'll do a little film thing. So yeah, that's my day tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get it done sort of by... It's 5 hours of driving, so even if I can pick up at 8, I'll be doing well to get it off by 2, and then I've got to get home. If I have to drive home empty, it's not great, but it's just the way it is at the moment. Excuse me. Yep, so that is Thursday. Right, it's actually midday Saturday now, so I'll do the summary tomorrow. I've still not totted up all my figures, but wanted to mention yesterday, Friday, before I forget. Yeah, so I mentioned about the morning job on Thursday's update when I was on the beach. It went alright. There was a few hold-ups to this job. The first one, like I said, was picking up they were both building sites. So I was picking up, and the address they gave me was for like the show home of the completed phase of this new housing development. Turns out I got there at 8. Nobody turned up till 8:15, and he says, yeah, you need to be the construction site office, which is like, it wasn't just down the road, it's kind of had to go right around it to get there. Got there in the end. Gateman was like, he was pretty sound, a gateman, but he was also quite abrupt kind of thing. And he's like, well, I'm the gateman and I'm also the storeman. I, keep track of all the goods in and out. Don't know effing about any boxes of light fittings. But anyway, I had this guy's contact name on site. He turned out, I think he was like one of the senior guys, site manager, possibly. So he told me to park up, and then he went to see this Tom, and then I had to wait. And then he found out, he comes over and says, yeah, they are on site. They somehow came in without me knowing, this storeman guy. Anyway, got them in the end. There's supposed to be 7 boxes. There's only 6, so I had to ring the shipper, make sure that was all okay. And they says, yeah, it's okay. I mean, you can't do anything about it, but can you send us the details, the labels of the boxes you've got, because they need to work out which one's missing, because this stuff's needed really urgent at the other site. They're going to have to reorder that stuff. So yeah, just WhatsApped the guy, took a photo of all the labels, sent him off. So it was an hour and a quarter. I didn't get away till 9:15. So it's obviously 45 minutes extra, sort of waiting and faffing on that job. The other end, over the Dartford crossing and up the M11, and get us to just by Cambridge sort of area. Got to the other building site. It was absolutely mad there, because I think their show home was opening this weekend. So honestly, next to it, there was like people laying the driveway brickwork. There were landscaping, all the grassy bits or the mud, where the flower beds would be and all that stuff. And there was electricians in the house. Honestly, there must have been about 20 or 30 contractors all around this one house. I've never seen anything like it. And like 2 diggers and all sorts of machinery, and people turning up and delivering stuff like me, and absolutely mad it was. Anyway, so delivered them there, and then I had to collect the other stuff that had been sent in error from the container the other side of the yard. It's supposed to be 26, but it was 25. So phone the shipper again, and he says, yeah, got to the customer and rang me up and says, yeah, just crack on, no need to send things through, because it's the urgent one was the one I just delivered them to. Going back the other way wasn't so urgent. They'll just work it out when they see the stuff, what's missing. Yeah, and then heading back down, there's a bit of traffic on the M25. Truck had caught fire, had a blowout, and set fire to the rear of the trailer, which had been put out, but because I joined on the M11, it was just after the M11 joining on, but it hadn't backed traffic up onto the M11, which was nice. But I did hear it was like miles and miles and miles of tailback going clockwise around the M25, coming like from further down on the radio. So yeah, dodged that bullet. Got back down there. It's about 3 o'clock by the time I got back. But I knew where I was going to tip. Obviously this time the guy in the gate knew where I was, and I was in a mad rush to get it tipped because there's a bit of traffic sort of getting there. I was stationary traffic, checked the feed, and it was like, mid-afternoon on a Friday. I was at about 183 miles from Brighton to home. I really didn't want to do that empty. That would have screwed up my week big time. It'd been a pretty painful drive doing all that unpaid. A job pinged up from Brighton to Tamworth, long wheelbase, via 2 pickups in Uxbridge, sort of around Heathrow way. And I was really keen on that job, so I thought, right, I'm actually going to do a backload rate on that, sort of going a bit cheap to get it, because it would sort of like anything's, well, yeah, it's taking me a lot closer to home, pretty much home. So I went in at 70p a mile, loaded only. Worked at 133 quid. Got the job. So then I was in a mad rush, because I said I could be there in 50 minutes, I think I put on the thing. It was pick up within the hour, and I put 50 minutes, 133, and he rang up and gave it me. So then I had to really get this one tipped. I don't like have jobs lined up particularly that close, but this is different on a Friday. I want to get home and get paid, so this job I had to take the risk and the stress. Luckily got this one tipped. There was no queue at the building site or anything, thank God. I did have to handball the 25 boxes up some stairs into like a porter cabin. Shot over to Brighton. Quite an interesting job this. It was, I'll mention the name of the company it was going to be delivered to. So collections for TK Maxx. I'm not really big into fashion or shopping, but TK Maxx do, like, if you don't know, they do like designer gear cheap. So it's normally like end of line and excess stock that they get, I think, sell off cheap. And the pickup in Brighton was quite interesting. It was picking up from like an independent shop, clothes shop. So I think they just sell off their old stock to, lots of these shops sell off their old stock that they can't shift to TK Maxx. And then it ends up in their big stores on retail parks. So I did that pickup. Bit of a pain getting around Brighton. Loads of like bus lanes and bus only and all this crap. But Google didn't seem to understand. But anyway, I got to the park right outside the shop. It was only double yellows, but not parked, not loading restrictions. So I managed to load it pretty quick. And then I had two pickups, let's say Uxbridge, UB7, the first one. Got there. The address was complete. It was like absolute crap that the ship had provided. But I Googled the company and went there. Turns out I was in the right place, but it didn't say the unit number. There was no, I couldn't see the company there, so I rang the shipper and they said, "Oh, we'll get back to you." Rang me back in a bit. Says, "Oh yeah, you're in the right place, but they closed at 4. And he says, "What time do you actually get the job?" And he says, "Well, I got it at 3, and I was in Brighton. So even if I could have done it straight away in Brighton at 3 o'clock, it's an hour and a half to the second pickup. So the job was never viable. So they cocked up basically. And he says, "Just so obviously you can't do that one." And I says, "Well, what about the next drop, which was UB2, so not too far away?" And she checked that one and says, "Yeah, that's at 4 as well, so don't bother doing that one." I was like, bonus. So from there, yeah, she said, "Just take what you've got and bring it to us in Tamworth." But I'd gone in cheap anyway, 70 pence loaded only on a long wheelbase job. So yeah, that got me, instead of being, I was 183 miles from home, Brighton, it got me to 13 miles from home. So that was a result, because I wouldn't really want, that was really chanced my arm, you know, taking that job and going back to Brighton. Like, I knew it'd be like early to mid-afternoon by the time I got back there to wait and return. Taking a big risk really, but the way it had been so quiet, it was a reasonable paying job. Just had to do it and take a chance really, and it paid off. So yeah, that's result of the week, and kind of salvaged the week. Like I say, I've not done the figures for the week, but it was looking pretty crap until then, but that's pretty much saved it. So I did 257 on the first job, 133 the second, so that's 390. I think all miles have probably averaged about 80p a mile for the day, which is a bit below where I'm aiming at, like 85p, but on a big earning day that's not too bad really. And 390 is the most I've ever made in a day. 374 was the highest in the old van. Obviously I'm in a bigger van now, so bigger rates, but more higher rates. Or earning potential, yeah, but yeah, I was quite happy with that in the end. So yeah, that's that was the Saturday. Absolutely crazy busy day, like from picking up at 8, dropped in Tamworth like 10 past 8, so just over 12 hours. Didn't really stop all day. Had a nice lie-in this morning. Anyway, I will do a summary tomorrow. Right then, somewhere a bit different to do the weekly review or highlights. I'm in Cannock Chase on a mountain bike. My little mountain bike, that's my cross-country mountain bike. I've been out on a mountain bike for quite a while, so yeah, it's quite a nice, beautiful day. I'll do both loops here if you know it, and ride to and from home, so I'll be absolutely knackered by the time I get home, because my fitness isn't what it was, say, a couple of years ago for sure. But anyway, too nice to stay at home. Yeah, so first of all, thanks for everyone's comments on last week. I asked about the multi-drop. General consensus was I should have rang the shipper as soon as I realised it was too many drops, which is right, I absolutely should have done. But sometimes with multi-drop, it's just a case of more drops, but it might be like quite condensed, so I kind of gave him the benefit of a doubt, and I thought I'd see how I got on and then ring him if it wasn't the case, which is kind of what I did. But really I should have just rang him initially and said, right, there's more drops here, it's going to take longer, it's going to cost more, and let him know straight away. But to be honest with you, I think the shipper was more trying to look really, rather than like falsely advertising the job, rather than the place I picked up from putting more drops. I think it was the shipper trying one. In terms of the type of drops, I didn't actually know until I got them, because I just had a sheet with the postcodes that I went and ordered it off, and then when I got to each, well, before I go to the next drop, I had to get out the delivery note for each one, and then that's when I'd see the address, not just the postcode. So I didn't quite realise that when I was at the depot. I didn't notice that, so I did a few drops really. Anyway, yeah, so this week, just these are my takings as ever. These are pre-VAT EP costs. This is just what I charged. So Monday, one job 155, Tuesday 66 and 113, which is 179. Wednesday 120 and 45, which is 165. Thursday was the real struggle of the day, which was 2 jobs 68 and 40 for 108. That's the worst day of the week. Friday was by far my best day of the week. 257, the wait and return job, and then 133, which was going in cheap, sort of backload rate for me, but got me really close to home. And that was a 390 for the day, which is my best takings for the week, and also ever. The best takings in the old van, the small, well, long wheelbase Traffic, which is a short wheelbase plus van kind of thing, was 374. So that's takings wise. Profit wise, I don't know which one would have been a better day, but it's a bit more involved to work that one out. I'm not going to bother. So total, so yeah, really crap week really, up until a Friday, which pulled it, saved it. So 997 for the week, 199.40 per day, 1,167 miles from leaving on the Monday to getting back on the Friday. Yeah, so I tramped out all week, 4 nights in the van this week. Had the heater on all week. It's still pretty cold at night. Slept pretty decently. So that works out an overall pence per mile of 85.4, which is pretty good really, because I'm aiming for 85. So that last job on the Friday, even though it went in a bit cheap backload rates for me, it kind of like saved the day really, saved the week. I was lucky to get that one. I had to take a chance on a Friday, that first job. I seem to spend quite a lot of time down the southeast again this week, in particular Brighton. What a lovely place. Brighton is really like Brighton, that area. Lovely coast with the white cliffs, the chalk cliffs. Brighton itself is really nice, you know, it's got the seafront, and it's quite hilly as well. It's obviously with downs around that way, which are beautiful as well when you're driving over to it. And this town itself, university town, it's got quite a bit of a good vibe about it. And it's not too big, it's kind of place like a city or town or city, I'm not sure what it is. I could quite happily live there, even though I'm not a city person. And it's probably ridiculous expensive being a southeast and not all that far from London. Anyway, so that was the week. Yeah, I plan on being 4 or 5 days again next week. This week, particularly early on in the week, I really struggled, and it's gone really quiet again. So after the last couple of weeks that have been pretty good, which I think were to do with the Easter break and the fact that it was the end of the financial year, it really dipped. It hasn't gone quite as quiet as it was through January and February, slightly higher than that. Just maybe like, I keep saying January and February were like 50 to 60% of what it was early December. And it had already gone a bit quiet by early December compared to what it was earlier in the year because of lockdowns. I think this week, the 2 times I've done it, it's slightly higher than that, so maybe it's like 60 to 65% of what it was January, February. Whereas the last 2 weeks, it was probably like 130% of what it was early December. If you follow that, probably a bit confusing. But anyway, I'm just going to finish my ride, head home. Thanks for watching. As ever, any comments, stick them below. Head home for some dinner and a shower, and do a few little jobs on the van, I think, if I've got the energy left.